Welcome back to the cheap SVT Cobra build, and this is going to be the biggest visual change that I have made to this 10th anniversary Cobra. And I'm really sorry for the blur right now. Oh, look, there go my legs. I will reveal it towards the end of the video. But the first thing that you're probably wondering is, A, why am I holding this flag? And B, probably where did I get it? Ford reached out through Ford Show Parts, and they are hooking you guys up with a discount code. This is directly through Ford. This is their official website. So you guys get 10% off until the end of the year on anything that you order through that website. So use my code SVTJacob or just click the link in the description. I actually used the stuff that they sent me at a local car show, so I had it all displayed through my boomer board on the dash. You can get your own VIN plaques, you can get all that cool stuff. So thank you so much, Ford, for now reaching out. And I'm not getting any commission from any of that stuff. That's just a nice discount code to pass along to you guys. So a huge thank you to Ford. I literally make no money from that. Let's put this beautiful flag on the floor for now to explain what we're doing in this episode. So we got to go head over to Ben's to actually install a short shifter, because this already came with a short shifter when I bought it. I believe it was a Pro 5.0. The throws were very notchy. It kind of blocked each gate. It wasn't a great experience. On top of that, it was also a physically shorter shifter, so you really had to reach for first and third. It was just, I didn't love it. So I actually went with the Steeda Tri-Ax shifter provided by Summit Racing. Thank you so much. And Steeda provided some gaskets as well to make the job a lot easier, so thank you to Steeda for that as well. The shifting experience is night and day now. It was super easy to install, and it has literally transformed the car. I enjoy it so much more. I'm not throwing out my shoulder trying to do shifts and all that kind of stuff. I guess what other kind of stuff would you do with the shifter anyways? It is remarkably better. I highly recommend this shifter. It was also recommended to me by a lot of people. It's got really, really good reviews, and now I'm one of those positive reviews. So now that we have the short shifter out of the way, let's get to the suspension, wheels, and tires. Thank you, Maximum Motorsports, so much for reaching out and providing the suspension for this. It has completely transformed this monster truck that it killed me to look at this thing in the state that I bought it. I've been waiting for this moment until right now so badly, because I've been trying to do this in stages to kind of restrain myself. And these wheels and tires, oh my goodness. You guys are not gonna be disappointed. Completely different. I love it. All right, let's head over to Ivan's Auto Service to see what we do. Tim Hortons for the boys. I'm at Ivan's Auto Service, and Ivan is going to be installing the suspension, the wheels and tires, followed by an alignment. And the reason why I'm at Ivan's is because he has an alignment rack. He also does race car alignments. He's really good at alignments. And by the way, those race cars actually do win races, so that's why I'm here. Even though this isn't a race car, this is gonna be a street car, but you know, someone who can do race car alignments can also do a regular car. Don't worry, Ben knows about this. I'm not cheating on him. Ben actually told me to go to an alignment place to get all this stuff done. Anyways, so I'm going to introduce you to Ivan, because he's a cool dude. He's actually been behind the scenes on a lot of videos that you guys haven't seen. He's been mounting all my low profile tires, because Ben doesn't like to do that. So I do have some low profile tires coming for this car. I don't want to tease with what's coming, but you already kind of saw that a little bit earlier. And I also took some before shots right here, so you'll see this later in the video. Be prepared to see this before, followed by the after. All right, let's go get this thing in here and go meet Ivan. So I've got Ivan here with me, the alignment expert, race car expert.
Hello, everybody.
You don't normally work on Mustangs, though.
No.
It's mostly, what's this, Honda something?
We got a K-Series, JDM K24.
Okay, so he likes his Honda stuff. He's really good at Honda stuff. So if you need Hondas worked on, bring it to this guy. Yeah. But also other things.
I have a Corvette too, though.
He does. So he actually does. Let me just show them the door. So, I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's actually Ivan's C6 Z06 right over here on the door. So that's actually how I met Ivan. I met Ivan at a car meet. We both had our Corvettes.
Yeah.
So funny enough, he also appreciates displacement.
Yeah.
All right, so we're doing a bunch of stuff today.
Yes.
What's the order of operations today?
We'll do the coilovers first.
Okay.
We'll set that all up, and then we'll get the wheels mounted up and balanced and stuff like that. And then we'll get it on the alignment rack. And then basically what we're going to do is we'll set the ride height.
Yep.
You know, to kind of where you're happy with it. And then we'll do one alignment on it. And then most likely I'll send you out for a good drive. Come back, we'll see if anything shifted. We'll do a retorque on all the nuts and bolts. And then most likely we'll have to tweak the alignment just a little bit because everything will settle in, right? And then that's going to be basically it. You're all going to be set.
Sounds good.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm probably going to complicate things because I want like a pretty nice stance, but I also want it to be fairly low.
Yeah.
But like not too low. We'll see. We'll have to play with the ride height. That's
Well,
also why
yeah.
I'm here, because he does that kind of stuff. He's really good at that. So we are doing Maximum Motorsports coilovers, just so you guys know. I will show you guys everything soon. And then we have wheels and tires. So let's get started.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get going on it.
So Maximum Motorsports thankfully sent me a plethora of parts, which we will detail basically every part that's going on the car. But thank you so much, Maximum Motorsports, for sending all of this stuff. And also, I do have to give a shout out to Maker's Garage. So Maker's Garage, these are the wheels that I ran on my Fox body. I got camber caster scuff plates. They make these just for basically every Mustang. It's super cool because I didn't have these on my Fox body, and these basically just protect your strut towers, which you guys will see soon. And then, after we do all that fun stuff, we do have new wheels. You guys will also see those. And new Continental tires. Okay, so we got the wheel off, and these are the OEM Bilstein shocks, which we are going to be reusing on the front. We will not be reusing them on the back, which I'll explain later. But what kind of design for suspension is this? Because obviously the spring isn't around the strut. It's kind of like an old school design.
Yeah, yeah. So they used it back in the day. It worked. There's nothing wrong with it, really. So
Yeah.
the new stuff is, coil on spring, right? So it works.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do here basically is unbolt this right here, so the strut from the rest of the hub.
We'll take it off the knuckle. The spring's in behind here,
Yep.
so we're gonna have to drop the lower control arm to put the new spring in there. It's gonna be a little bit shorter spring, right? So
Yep.
it's actually smaller in diameter too.
That's
so and the shocks, we'll just reuse them. These Bilsteins work for a very long time.
Yeah.
As long as they're not blown, we
Exactly.
got nothing to worry. We'll just clean them all up and make them look nice, and away we go.
Yeah, I asked Maximum Motorsports because I was like, well, I'm doing everything, I might as well replace them. They suggested that if the car's riding fine, which it is, I don't need to replace them, so I'm not going to. But I am replacing the rears for a separate reason. But the fun part about this is that you actually have to support this, because as soon as you unbolt that, this spring just shoots this right down.
Yeah, yeah. It's under a lot of tension, basically. So the whole car rides on that spring there.
Yeah.
So you really have to support. You have to be really careful when you do that.
Yeah, so we will be removing the spring and going to a full coilover design. So the spring will be one with the new coilover, and then we can adjust it. Deconstruct.
Deconstruct, clean up,
Sweet.
reassemble in reverse order.
Ivan is unpackaging all the stuff we got from Maximum Motorsports just to check what we have, because there's a lot of stuff. Now, I know the internet probably wants me to do more than this, but I'm not going to do more than this right now. And Maximum Motorsports did offer to send me a lot more, so thank you. But I'm just going with a reasonable thing first, see how this changes the car at first, and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Rather than doing like a full IRS bushing swap and all that crazy stuff that they make, subframe connectors and all that, we're just doing coilovers.
For a street car, I think this is going to be a great start. You still want to make sure the ride's nice, comfortable. You don't want to cross that line where it becomes
race car, street car.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah.
So I actually went because there's many different spring options because we can do basically endless things with coilovers. So I went with one of their softest spring rates because I'm driving this on the street. So I think this is actually the softest spring rate that they even offer.
Yeah.
Because I talked to them, consulted with them, and they were super helpful about everything. So it looks like we have everything here. We're also doing these low profile IRS subframe bolts for the rear, which you guys will see why we have to do that, because we are running some wider tires. And they also sent me their clutch quadrant and adjustable piece for the clutch as well, the firewall adjuster, but we're gonna do that at a later date because I forgot to order the clutch cable. And then we also have caster camber plates, so everything seems to be
Slip plates are up there. We got these guys.
Yeah, I already showed those, which is great. Thank you, Maker's Garage, for those. And I can't wait to see what all of this looks like with those wheels. So before we actually get to this time lapse, we have to use this tool, which is a flange straightener that Maximum Motorsports provides with really good instructions, because apparently on the driver's side, you have to bend this little oval thing, otherwise it can cause a clunking noise, and it's only on the driver's side. So Ivan is now trying to figure out what's going on over here because it's way up there.
You can kind of see it.
Yeah, I could see it.
So the flange is right there.
Yeah.
They just basically want us to bend this more in.
Yep.
Because the spring is going to sit right here so it doesn't rub against this portion right here.
Got it. Okay.
So that's what we're going to do right now.
Cool. Nice of Maximum Motorsports to take the time to include a tool like this that they actually made themselves. Look at that. Works pretty great, eh?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, now let's get to the time lapse. Ivan, we're done with the time lapse. Let's explain what we just did.
Done with the time, yeah. So basically we disassembled the front ones.
Yep.
The front struts. Installed a new coilover kit on there. You can see it all sits there. It's got a nice collar. Very nice stuff. Fits beautifully.
This allows you to then adjust the ride height.
This will adjust the ride height basically on the strut itself. So
really cool that you can convert like an old strut into a coilover.
Yeah. Great kits.
And now we've got like this empty space for no spring or anything.
Yeah, basically. Well, here we'll grab this one for comparison. So,
yes.
so everybody can see what the difference is. You can see what it's.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference.
Huge one, and now we've got this little one.
Yeah.
And you can change the spring rates on these. Maximum Motorsports has basically everything. You just ask them, tell them what your intention is for what you're going to do with the car, and they'll figure out what spring rate you should get.
Yeah.
So.
And we got all the top hats installed there for caster and camber adjustments. So we'll do those. We'll show those once the car's down.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're all up here, and we'll show you how all that works when we're doing the alignment a little bit later. But I think that's pretty much it for the fronts.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Very good kit. Really good instructions. He's never installed one of these and figured it all right out.
Yeah. No, nice kit. Actually, everything fit beautifully.
Yeah. Okay.
Typically with the aftermarket stuff, it gets a little bit questionable, but no, this actually went together really nice. So.
Perfect. Good to hear. Thank you, Maximum Motorsports. Okay, so now we are going to move on to the rear. Let's show you guys what the rear looks like before we get started. Kind of the same idea. It's got its own little perch there, I guess, and then the strut is separate right there. So we do have to get into the trunk to release that strut. Yeah. But this looks a little bit easier. Hopefully that bolt comes out. Working on Canadian cars.
That's always interesting.
Yeah. So.
But no, everything front came apart, so I expect the rear.
I didn't even see a single. What's the heat thing? What's that called?
The induction heater?
No. Yeah,
torch?
that torch. No induction heater. Nothing.
Torch is in the corner. We don't need it yet.
Yeah, not yet. Hopefully we don't need it at all.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna open up all the old, all the new Maximum Motorsports stuff. Yeah. Look at the instructions for the rears. Now I did order new rears, and the reason for that is that Maximum Motorsports actually slots these right here. So this is actually cut into the body of the strut, and that is for the sleeve for the collar.
Yeah, so the bottom collar for the spring is actually gonna sit on top of that.
This thing.
Yes.
Is this the right one?
I believe so, yes.
I think so.
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah.
So it's got you can see it's got a little groove inside of it. So basically the snap ring that goes onto the shock here will sit inside of this, and this basically will kind of secure there so it can't go further.
Cool.
So, and then the spring now sits on top of here, and it's over the shock itself rather than having them side by side.
Yep. So the reason I did this is because I'd rather have a new one that's done correctly. Maximum Motorsports can also tell you exactly where to make that cut, and then you can use your existing Bilsteins. So then basically you get that cut done right there. But if you screw that up, that shock is done. So I didn't want to risk that and downtime, so we went with brand news for the rears.
Yeah, and it comes with all the bushings and everything, so.
Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to assemble the rear, another time lapse, and let's go. What do we need to do at the back here that's different from the front?
We got a few more things to disassemble here. We're actually on this one on the back, we're gonna have to compress the spring itself before we can even remove it.
Okay, so we do need actual spring compressors?
Yeah,
Okay.
the spring is just a little bit too long, so we're gonna drop the lower control arm afterwards, disconnect the shock.
Yep.
We got the link kit to disconnect, and we'll see how much that actually gives us in rotation for the control arm. We might have to take a couple other things apart, but
Okay.
that's gonna be the gist of it, is basically get the spring out and then assemble the new shock.
What's our big things that we're hoping for? That this comes out and this comes out easily?
Yeah, basically we're gonna hope that the bolts that go through the bushings are not seized up.
Yeah.
And then when it's all back together, we're also gonna make sure that the camber adjustment has got a centric bolt up here.
Oh, yeah,
We're
okay.
gonna make sure that that bolt basically moves so we can get some camber adjustment out of it for the alignment. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So things went a little bit differently, just a bit. We couldn't get one of the bolts out, or two of the bolts, and they're kind of important bolts. Right there. Point to that. Yeah,
That
thank
guy.
you. Yeah. So the plan was to actually swap that bolt with these ones, which are the low profile one, because I wanted these just in case for security with wider wheels.
Yeah.
But this one was spinning, and we didn't want to chance that not working.
Yeah.
That would ruin our day real fast.
Yeah.
So-
Not a bolt we want to break right now. So,
Yeah, so we
we're
just
gonna leave
avoided
it
that.
alone.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll just leave it alone, and everything else went okay.
Yep.
All the ones that I thought was going to be problems, they actually came out no
Right.
issues.
Like this was
So
no
yeah,
problem.
that one and that one.
Yep.
Even the stabilizer link came right apart, no issues. So.
Yeah. And then we had to open the trunk and get to that top bolt.
Yeah. So the shock basically goes through. Just got to take the inner linings all out, and comes right out.
And it's a cool design and how Maximum Motorsports did all this to make it work for basically turning it into a coilover.
Yeah. Everything
That
everything
sleeve worked
assembled
out.
really nicely. So
Yeah.
it was great.
Okay, so what's next now? Because everything's bolted in right now.
Yeah, so now we're gonna get the wheels all mounted up, and then we'll put them on the car. We'll kind of see where we're at height-wise, and then we're gonna start playing with it a little bit.
All right, so wheel reveal is coming, finally. I know you guys have probably been dying and waiting this entire time for the wheels, and they are sitting in boxes, so we're gonna mount them up, get the tires on, and we'll see what kind of wheels I'm running. Take a guess in the comments right now. Oh man, why are these wheels so pixelated? I didn't pay for all the pixels? That's strange. You guys will see them real soon. I also got these Maximum Motorsports 1/4 inch thick spacers before we mount the wheels, and I only did this because these wheels are technically not for IRS fitment, they're for all Mustangs, so this should kind of space it out for me. We'll see if we need to use them. I will let you guys know, but I think that's all we should need, 1/4 inch spacers. So now we're doing a pretty rough, just general alignment before we get up on here.
Yeah, we're just gonna kind of get it in close, and then we'll get the readout, see exactly where we're at, and then we'll set the camber first and
Perfect.
set the toe. And
this was camber caster, so camber adjusts this way,
yeah, camber just in
caster
and out,
goes
caster
that
goes
way.
front to back. Yeah.
and then those Maker's Garage scuff plates are right underneath there to
Inside
protect
there, yeah.
that metal. So yeah, that's how it all works. Now Ivan's gonna make sure that this is all straight and I can drive home.
Yeah.
I finally seen it for the first time. It's ridiculous. We just dialed in the ride height to a reasonable amount because it's going to settle. So here's your first glimpse That's a new Cobra. Why is it still blurry? There we go. Damn, that looks good. Ivan, you killed it. Thank you so much. This is amazing. Absolutely perfect. Look at this. So I went with the SVE 18 by 10s in the rear with a 295 Continental Extreme Contact Sport 02. And then I used the Maximum Motorsports 1/4-inch spacers, which everything seems to be fitting perfectly. Front 18 by 9 and Continental Extreme Contact Sport 02 in 275. So everything is looking perfect. So now we're just gonna dial in the alignment, and this will settle down probably another, what, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch?
Yeah, it depends on the springs, but we're thinking about minimum 1/4 inch.
Yeah, so we're already pretty low. I think we lowered it, what, 2.5 inches already?
2.5 inches already down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably, like I said, another 1/4. We'll see how much it settles, and we'll tweak it from there.
Ridiculous. This looks perfect. Like, this is the Cobra I wanted. This is it. How much better does this look?
Really good. Really
Oh, God, look at this. Unreal. I can't get over it. I'm gonna show you guys outside once we're all dialed in, but here's my old wheels, new wheels. I had to go with the classic setup. You can't beat this setup. These are 18s, which are a reproduction of the original 17s, wider, 1 inch larger. All right, Ivan, let's dial in this alignment. Right there, Ivan's Auto Service. Kitchener, go see Ivan. He's got race cars coming actually right now, so we got to get out of here. So Maximum Motorsports has some kind of preliminary specs that they recommend for alignments, but Ivan's got his own specs as well. But this is the initial. We're going to adjust all this stuff, but Ivan's pretty happy with where it was preset.
Yeah, so this is just initial after doing all the work. So we know that the car is going to settle, so things are going to change as it settles. So we're just going to basically get it to a point where it's going to drive straight. It's not going to wear tires. We're going to put the camber kind of close to spec what we want.
Yep.
And then, after a few hundred kilometers, once you come back, then we're going to fine tune everything and kind of go from there.
Yeah, so we're going to leave the rear, which is a little bit higher than what Maximum Motorsports recommends and what Ford recommends, I guess, too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
that's mostly to save my fenders, probably.
yeah, so we're going to make sure, because it's close to the quarters, so we're just going to leave it there.
Yeah.
It's very similar side. So I think if we start pulling camber out, the tire would be touching the quarter, and we don't want that.
And then the camber in the front, you're going to match this one closer to this one.
Yeah, so we're going to pull some out of here, and we're going to add just a touch here.
Yep.
The caster we're going to leave alone where it is until the final setting.
Yep.
And then obviously we're just going to set the toe, which is standard, right, for alignments.
Perfect. So let's just show people this side, because this side is basically perfect.
Yeah.
So that's what it's going to sit like, which has a little bit of camber this way, which looks pretty good to me. Should save my fenders, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then the rear over here should also be fine, because the fender's right there. So when the tire goes up, it might smash into that. And I don't really want to roll these because they're such nice fenders and there's no rust or anything like that. Okay, do your magic, please. So now that we're all done with the alignment, I'll show you guys what this looks like before and after from what I filmed before I got here, and after right now, because this thing looks completely different. So there you have it. Look at this setup now. It is unbelievably sick. This is exactly what I wanted this thing to look like. Yes, it looks like a stock Cobra, but it also doesn't, because these are 18s instead of the 17s that these came with, and these are wider. I went with a 10-inch on the rear with a 295 tire. Amazing. Now, one little change that I did have to make, but all the shots that you guys saw, the cool visual effects that I did from the before after, I removed the rear spacer because I was getting a little bit of rubbing on the back, just a little bit right on the lip of the fender, and I really don't want to roll these fenders, at least not yet, because everything's quite nice in this car. I don't really want to ruin it. So right now, removing that little spacer has completely eliminated any of the rub in the back, so I can drive at this ride height no problem, which is honestly surprising because it's like a little bit less than a finger gap, and Ivan thinks that these springs are going to settle as well. So it's gonna be maybe a 1/4 inch, maybe 1/2 inch lower, where I'm gonna have to go back to Ivan's, get another alignment, and then possibly raise it back up. Unless I can get away with something lower, we'll see. But what a visual difference. This is the Cobra that I've had in my head since it came out in high school and the 18s became available. This is amazing. Thank you to LMR for actually stocking these and making these through SVE, because these are perfect. I did think about some other wheels. We'll see if we change these up in the future, but honestly, to me, this is as good as it gets. Like, this is the perfect Cobra. Now, I'm not done though. This series is still going because the paint isn't in the greatest shape. I've known that since day one, but I've also known that I was going to take care of it. Now, there's a lot of swirl marks, a lot of paint chips. The front and rear bumpers will probably have to be painted, but that's another future thing, maybe over the winter. But for now, the next video is going to be another complete visual transformation, getting rid of all these swirl marks and making this car actually black. Because if you look at it in some daylight and sunlight, it basically has this white haze to it. There's water spots everywhere, there's swirl marks, there's everything on this. It doesn't look great. Black cars are really hard to maintain. I've got an E55, I already know that, but it's so rewarding when they're clean, and you can just upkeep it with, you know, regular careful washes, all hand washes, 2 bucket washes, that kind of thing. So that's what's coming next. And then the week after, I got some more parts. So we are going back to Joe D'Souza of D'Souza Performance to add some horsepower to this thing, throw this thing back on the dyno, and see what the final numbers are, because I've been staying out of it ever since I did the exhaust, the intake, just in case, because it's got the previous person's tune on it, and I've changed a pretty substantial amount of parts in terms of air fuel delivery. So if anything, it could possibly be running lean right now. So I've been staying at a boost, and staying at a boost with a 4.6 liter V8, still actually pretty easy. Although I do miss the supercharger whine, I get a little bit of that here and there. So thank you guys so much for watching up until this point, and I don't know what to do with my hands, but thank you so much. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys at the next video, because come on, look at this thing. Oh, man. Oh, and by the way, I'm gonna paint the calipers and stuff, because now that you see everything, it's not in the greatest shape. Future video, lots of future videos. Man, look at this thing. Perfect.